Chris Carvalho here, the Unlock Your Sound guy, outside Abbey Road Studios here in London. It's the analog vlog. It's a vlog. Analog.
Yes. That's my friend Chris. He is a great friend of the vlog, and I asked him the other day, I was like, hey dude, how far away are you from Abbey Road Studios? And he texted me back immediately. He was like, dude, I'm going to go over there and film your intro. Yes. Thank you, Chris. Today I have a mix review for you. This one's sweet. This is from another great friend of the vlog. His name is Remy. He recorded this band. I think he recorded a full album, correct me if I'm wrong. But this record is, I listened to it already. He did such a good job with this. I'm so excited to share it with you. It's actually kind of a bummer because usually when I do these mix reviews, I automatically think, okay, we can fix this, we can fix this, we can fix this. It's going to be way better. But like this is just, it's so good already. It's a cover of Hold the Line, which pretty much everybody knows. Even if you don't know it by title, you'll recognize the lyrics. The arrangement is completely different from the original song, but it's really sweet. The band did a great job. He did an excellent job engineering. Let's just listen to it through, and then we'll talk about it a bit.
It's not in the way that you hold me. It's not in the way you say you care. It's not in the way you've been treating my friends. It's not in the words that you told me. It's not in the way you say you're mine. No, no, no. It's not in the way that you came back to me. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. It's not in the words that you told me. It's not in the way you say you're mine. It's not in the way that you came back to me. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. It's not in the way you look, all the things you say that you do. It's not in the way you'll stay till the end. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
Isn't that sweet? I'm loving that record. There's so many good things going on there. So I took the liberty of doing a sort of master on this, sort of tweaking the things that I thought could really benefit the song. And so just first off, in terms of level, like this song is peaking at 0, but we could get a lot more volume from it. So I'm going to do a quick A/B of his version and then my master so you can hear just how much level we can get. And this is just the last chorus.
Love isn't always in time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
So there's a lot more space. The master that I did is still very dynamic. It would be perfectly fine to be played back on all the streaming stuff. It wouldn't get squashed down. Full volume, minus 13 loudness units, full scale if you're into that kind of thing. Now mastering is basically like taking a magnifying glass and zooming in on everything and hearing all the little nitty gritty fine detail stuff that you might not necessarily hear in the mix, but mastering really just exaggerates a little bit everything. So I was able to hear some things that I think are worth working on in this. Let's start from the beginning. This is my master that you're listening to. You hear all the noise? Here's Remy's. Now you hear the noises there, it's just quieter because everything's quieter, right? One more time. So at the beginning, if you're using Waves plugins, there's a little knob on the Waves plugins called Analog. It's usually called Analog. That literally just adds noise. It's designed to sound like the noise from an analog console. But if you leave that engaged, and you leave that engaged on too many plugins, or if you put that on the master bus, some weird things happen, and especially in the mastering process here, it really exaggerates that noise. So I would recommend finding the source of that noise and eliminating it or turning it down significantly. Moving on.
It's not in the way that you hold me. It's not in the way you say you care.
The next thing that I sort of heard was a buildup of frequencies in the lower mid-range.
It's not in the words that you told me.
This is his version.
It's not in the way you say you're mine. No, no, no.
It's just kind of like the kick drum has a bit of resonance in there just above the fundamental frequency. So I took the liberty of EQing that out. If you're curious as to the exact spot that I EQ'd out, it is 135 hertz. And I EQ'd that out across the entire mix because all I have is the 2-track, but I would recommend doing that cut just to the kick drum. So ignoring the loudness difference here, you listen to the clarity of the kick drum in the first version, his, to the second version, mine.
It's not in the words that you told me. It's not in the words that you told me. It's not in the way. It's not in the words that you told me. It's not in the way you say you're mine.
You can kind of hear a little bit of a difference. I think it's good. I think it helps to tighten up the low end of the mix. Next thing on the lead vocal, I was noticing, at least in my ears, the vocal sound a little bit like it had a cone. And the cone frequency, that would be somewhere around 500 and somewhere around 800. Those frequencies in there. So I did duck out those frequencies in my master. But again, if you have the mix stems, you would do that just to the vocal.
It's not in the words that you told me. It's not in the words that you told me.
Very subtle, but it's there. You can hear sort of the whole shifting of his voice. There's a lot more low end of his voice in Remy's version, and then the voice just sort of picks up and opens up in mine because I've ducked out a little bit of the lower frequencies.
It's not in the words that you told me. It's not in the words that you told me.
A little more present. Moving on, let's go to the first chorus.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
All right, so I hear in there a shaker, actually two shakers. And I'd love to hear those shakers brought out a bit. The function of a shaker in this scenario is just to add extra momentum to the chorus, which is what it's doing, but I think it could come out more. And when I get to talking about width, I would like to hear those shakers panned hard left right. Here's my version with a little bit more shakers in the sides.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line.
His version.
Hold the line. Love isn't always.
You can hear how the shakers are a little bit tucked in, and on my version, it's a little bit further out.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
I love that reverb tail on the background vocals lines, but I'd like the I'd like the reverb tail to just abruptly stop when the kick drum comes in the post-chorus. Like that, right? It carries on a lot more if you hear it in the more mastered version. Still going, right? So you get what I mean? I think it just in terms of like cleanliness, it cleans up the mix. It sounds a little better. Let's talk about reverb for a second and the guitar placement. Now, this is my personal preference, and I talked to Remy about this in a text or Facebook Messenger or something like that, and I said, you know, you got to realize that this mix is so good as it is. Most of what I'm going to talk about is my personal preference, but in terms of guitar and reverb, because in this scenario they do go hand in hand. Is that a helicopter? Oh gosh. Hold please. Okay, we're back. Reverb guitars. I can tell by monitoring just the mid channel and just the side channels that you place the guitars about halfway between. It's not hard panned and it's not mono. So I'm going to switch and we're just going to listen to the sides of the first chorus right now. So what do we hear? Background vocals, pretty much full on background vocals. And a little bit of guitar. But none of the guitar reverb. And the reverb for pretty much everything else, and a little bit of a tom drum. So now let's listen to just the mono, the center channel.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
You can hear that guitar a little bit. You can hear all the guitar reverb in the center.
Love isn't always on time.
So my personal preference would be to hear the guitars panned hard left and hard right. And going along with a shaker thing, putting the shaker and the guitar in the same space is going to make the shaker and the guitar act as one instrument. The shaker is going to reinforce the rhythm that chukka chukka guitar is doing, which is awesome. That's exactly what you want. I did a little bit of creative EQ to try to push the guitars out a little further, but in doing so, it basically took the image and it stretched it this way, which didn't help the lead vocal at all. It made the lead vocal a little thinner. So again, if you have the mix stems, you would want to pan the guitar stem rather than trying to fix it in the mastering. Here's the side channels of my master. So a little bit more present guitar and a little bit more shaker in my version. Here's the middle channel.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
And back to everything.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
Can you hear how the guitar's kind of sunk into the middle?
Love isn't always on time.
And now it's much more open. In my version, I took the mix, which was very narrow, and I just sort of brought it out to fill in the full left to right spectrum. And it's not as far as I want it to be because I had to do it sort of tastefully, because when I was pulling out the sides, it was also pulling out the reverb, which again was sort of weakening the lead vocal. That's okay. You can fix that kind of stuff in the mix if you want to. It's totally, again, personal preference. If you do want a more narrow mix, that's fine as well. But I personally love floor to ceiling, wall to wall soundscape.
Hold the line.
That little kick thing, those drops like that where everything cuts out except for a tom, you can always automate that tom up and just make it really extra fat. You can even create a new channel, put that one tom hit on it, crank up the bass on it, and just let that thing ring out. People love it. People love it. They don't need to know how you did it. They just need to know that tom is gonna shake their boots. I did tend to add a lot of sub frequencies. Your kick is really nice and fat at 60 hertz, but everything below that, there's nothing below that. So I used like some more like warmer tubey Neve type EQs to reinforce the sub frequencies, but you can do that better again with just the kick drum, because when I was doing it, it's also bringing up the bass, which you don't necessarily want to do, but you do want a little extra oomph in the kick drum. Let's hear if we can hear the difference. If you have speakers with a nice subwoofer, you'll definitely feel a difference. It might not be something that you hear, but those frequencies down there are the ones that hit you right in the chest, and you could definitely bring those out a bit more.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. It's not in the way you look, all the things you say that you.
You know, this is the cool thing about mastering. The loud parts are, you know, the peaks are exactly the same. Both the peaks are at digital 0, but the loud parts of the song, the choruses, they're a little bit thicker, but where it really shines is when it goes to the bridge, when it goes to just that solo keyboard thing. those parts get brought up a lot more. So that there's more consistency across the track. You don't have people going to reach for their stereo knob, turning it up, turning it down, turning it up, turning it down. So you can definitely hear the difference here going out of this chorus into the bridge. Remy's version.
It's not in the way you look.
And the master version.
It's not in the way you look.
It's still right there, you know what I mean? It's just fat and ready to go. Here's just a total, like, this is like a production thought, but I like the idea of it. It's worth trying, at least, and seeing if the band likes it or not. But the lead singer, he holds out a note, and you put a nice, beautiful reverb tail on it. I think, personally, my personal taste, I think the keys come in sooner than I want them to. Actually, what I did the math in my head, and I think it'd be perfect if you put a bar of 2 in between the end of the note and the beginning of the keys. All right, you ready? Here's the version that I did. It's not pretty, but you'll hear the timing that I'm going for. I just made a reverb throw and I cranked up the automation right there. So check this out.
All the things you say that you do, it's not in the way you'll stay till the end.
I like it just a little bit longer. I don't know. That's my personal taste. I think it'd be sweet if there's just a moment of weightlessness and then we're back with that driving keyboard part. Again, with this keyboard part here, this is a chunk where you can really hear that hiss again going into the next part. You know what I mean? And I think that hiss is tied to the bass. Listen right here. You hear the hiss sort of reacts when the bass comes in. I would check your bass signal chain. Otherwise, Remy, dude, I really love what you did with this track. If you would like to work on some of the stuff we talked about, maybe fix the hiss and touch up the kick drum, I would love to master this for you, and I will do it pro bono just because I really like this tune. And it'd be sweet. So yeah, I'm going to play this out to the end of the song, and then we'll do the outro. Remy, this is yours.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
This is what it could be.
Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
Thing. The bass plays one note. Right there, did you hear it? So maybe mute that. Sweet, man. Such a sweet song. Oaks Above band, you killed it. I can't wait to hear more from you guys. Remy, I can't wait to hear more from you. All in all, this is just a super awesome mix. I love listening to it. I love working on it. I was like, man, what am I going to do this song to make it better? Like, there's a lot of things. I was like, shoot, well, he did that right. He did that right. He did that right. It's just like, okay, well, fix the hiss, make it a little wider, boost the kick, sub, and I think you got a winner here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once more, I'm Will Borza, the LA recordist. If you want your song to get critiqued and you want to learn a bit from me and from the process of having some extra ears on your record, feel free to get in touch and send your mix over. Let's do this. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Love isn't always time.